When you watch this video, you might think Elias looks tired. And in fact, I do look tired because my camera has no mercy and it shows the reality, and actually I am tired. Tired of questions that I've asked, simple questions, questions that should be asked, not about details and formalities that only are important for laws and rules. No, they're just questions about principles. Like the dubia that I think 4 cardinals brought up and they still haven't got an answer. More recently, questions that I ask, but it cannot be answered yet, about the complete reorganization of the Vatican. What will be the consequences? Because the document that was prepared during many years, it's written in Italian. There's no translation available yet, so I'm anxiously looking forward. But with all the vagueness growing and synodal paths going their own way, I'm wary of what this reorganization is going to mean. We've been in this reorganization, talking, dialogue, talking about talking and talking about talking in the dialogue. We've been busy with that in Holland now for roughly 50 years, more than 50 years. So actually I don't see any result of it, except churches closing, people not losing faith, but just not knowing what the heck faith is about. It's very strange, this feeling of let it just all go. I'm tired. And this week I was particularly tired also because you may call me a Fatimist. That means I have a great devotion to Our Lady of Fatima. I have a great admiration for the 3 saints, Francesco, Jacinta and Lucia. I followed it, I've studied it, and now of course everybody's very happy about this consecration. That's going to happen Friday, but once again it is not exactly what Our Lady asked. Our Lady asked the consecration of Russia. That's it. Not the consecration to her Immaculate Heart of the Ukraine. It's nice to do that, but it's not exactly what Our Lady asked at Fatima. And the other thing that is not mentioned is that Russia will spread its errors, and this was said in 1917. After the liberal revolution, led by a man called Kerensky, the liberal Masonic revolution. Kerensky was a Mason, although apparently not a very mystical one. And before the Bolshevik turnover, the Bolshevik revolution. Now, what errors was Our Lady talking about? Was it a liberal errors that would lead to communism? Was it communism? Was it the Bolshevik ideology that actually was drowned in the purge of Trotskyists by Stalin? What were those errors? And are they still there, or are they somewhere else now? What were the errors of Russia, and are they still actual today? It would be really nice to get an answer to that. I'm not saying just one simple answer, but we could at least be encouraged to reflect on that by the authorities of the Church. And I think it's very hurtful that Ukrainians and Russians in these days of war are put on the same level, when it is so clearly that Russia has invaded Ukraine. What were those errors of Russia? By the way, you're not allowed to call that an invasion in Russia. Here you see again the difference between East and West. In the West you may call it what you like. You will get a debate about it, but the police is not coming to your house and arrest you when you call it a picnic party, or an invasion, or a war, or a genocide, or a special military operation, as Putin calls it. You won't get punished for that. You can call it what you like. In Russia you cannot. That shows a little bit the difference. I think, by the way, it's important to see the significance of the fact that it's called a special military operation by the Russians. That is not just to avoid the word invasion or war. That there's much more to it than meets the ear at the first sound. It has to do with the subtleties of the Russian language. There is a word in Russian for a special. It's called osobe. It means special, particular. If they use the word specjalny, special, that immediately has a different connotation. Special indicates the secret services. And they're not spies trying to find out where the missiles of the enemies are. The secret services in Russia are not looking for that. They're only looking for where the thirst of truth is in the hearts of man, and they want to extinguish it. It's a very special esoteric power that has made Russia since the Russian Revolution, and it is still there. What it means to have an exoteric power, a power with clearly defined responsibilities, which will have deviations, which will have different ways to be corrupted, but in itself we are the heirs of SPQR, Senatus Populusque Romanus. That means the people and the Senate in Rome, they are responsible with respect to each other, and they form one political agent. It's an exoteric power, in the same way that Pericles, the chief of Athens in the 4th century before Christ, called Athens an open society. And people who have only known an open society or only the Roman order, they just cannot imagine what it means to be ruled by an esoteric power like the secret services. And in the secret services, there are other things going on that are very hard for us to understand. And there is this strange fascination to call them by the name specjalny, special. And also operatia. And again, it's a Western word that is applied to actions of the secret services. And the fact that this name is used for the invasion or the war or the picnic, whatever you call it in Ukraine, shows who's really in charge of this. And it shows also why the Russians are so passive, that nobody is protesting. They're still scared of the esoteric power. And it's very hard for us Westerners to understand it. How would you, I mean, there has been criticism of the Pope, for example. But still, we treat him as the Pope, and we might disagree with him, we might have questions with him, we might also like things he says. We openly discuss about that, although it's always necessary to keep respect for his function. What would you do if the Pope was an agent of the CIA, of MI4, 5, 6, I don't know what abbreviation they use in the United Kingdom? The Patriarch of Moscow is an agent of the FSB, of the Secret Services. And the Patriarch has always been. And, okay, when our Pope meets him, it's a nice meeting of diplomacy. But there will be victims too. Because the truth will be sacrificed. If you treat this man as a spiritual chief. And I love the Russians, but this esoteric power, which by the way was founded by a Polish Bolshevik, Felix Dzerzhinsky, a mass murderer whose portrait is still in all the offices of the FSB today. I feel sorry for the Russians that they are still under the spell of this man. Is the FSB the era of Russia? Maybe, I don't know, but I think we'll have to dig a bit further. Because you can also spread absurdities. The West is spreading absurdities. Go and study seriously what marketing is all about, what commercial advertising is all about. That's the gospel of today. The gospel of complete absurdity. I was speaking about the anger. Follow the anger. Follow the anger with which the Ukrainians defend their country now. Forget about what the US did, what the European Union did. Just look at the very simple anger of the Ukrainians defending themselves. And you'll find the incredible injustices that they suffered. And then reflect on the fear of the normal Russians for their secret services. Their lack of anger, their passivity. Strange how when you follow the anger, sooner or later you find out about a great injustice, and therefore you find out also about justice and the truth. If you follow fear, you don't find injustices, but you find lie. But passivity can be due to fear, and passivity can also be to indifference. And I think that's the great difference between when you dig deeper into the passivity of peoples, you find fear because of a lie, because of this esoteric power that keeps you in a state of being scared of the truth, or this passivity may be indifference. And then you're in the West. Then you're in all these countries where people are now so scandalized about the war in Ukraine, our Western countries, where the spread of lies is less harmful, I would say, than the spread of absurdities, which has made us completely indifferent. Indifferent to the unjust war, shameful war, disgraceful war against unborn life. This war reveals something of our times, of our age, that we should not miss. I really feel this is Gog and Magog, the way it's described in the Apocalypse. And this attack of Gog and Magog, it's really like the final attack. It's about the word become flesh. And the attack of Russia on Ukraine is only one front, one attack. The Church of Christ is being attacked from all sides, from within and from without. And you may be tired, but it's only when you dare to ask those questions. Where is the place I should fight? Where is the place where I should pray? Where is the place where I should ask the right questions so truth be victorious? Only when you ask those questions, you will be less tired and find the courage to do in your place what Christ asks from you.